Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Solar System Invaders, the Planet X Photographic Evidence. Now, in the last year, several solar system invading objects, also known as stellar cores and also known as Planet X objects, have been observed from the Earth's surface in spite of the use by the powers that be of artificial cloud seeding, also called chemtrails, and sun simulators. They use these in an effort to hide the presence of the stellar cores from the Earth's inhabitants. These objects behave very differently from solar system objects and must therefore come from outside the solar system. In this article, we look at some of the photographic evidence. And first of all, we see this object that was captured by GFP in March of 2018. As you can see, it's an object that is emitting red light and is surrounded by a cloud of a diffuse cloud that is also emitting red light. Now, this object was seen in the same position in the sky for an extended period of time. And since only geosynchronous satellites are supposed to remain the same position with respect to the surface of the Earth, this meant that this object had made a connection with the Earth and was thus actually rotating with the Earth. The object was therefore one of the stellar cores that have become energy bound to the Earth and are absorbing energy from it. And you may look at article 243 entitled Earth Hosting at Least 3 Planet X System Objects. Now, these objects have been observed in the sun's corona for a very long time and can usually be observed making root-like connections with the sun that indicate that they draw energy from the sun. And you may look at article 183 entitled Stellar Cores Absorb Photons which Carry Gravitational Energy for more information about their energy, the way these objects drain energy from the sun. And here we see one of the stellar cores in the sun's corona making this root-like connection with the sun through which it draws matter from the sun. The matter has more energy than the matter the object is made of. So this is one of the ways that these objects draw energy from the sun. Now, the stellar cores seem to be part of a system of objects that seems to have started invading the solar system about 170 years ago, because this is when noctilucent clouds started being observed. These clouds are luminescent and can thus only be produced if electrons in atoms move from one energy level to another. Electrons emit photons when they lose energy, and when stellar core matter, which is lower in energy than Earth matter, interacts with matter in the Earth's atmosphere, so that the Earth matter loses energy to the stellar core matter. This causes water molecules to condense and electrons to emit photons as they lose energy, leading to light coming from a region in the sky where stellar core matter has penetrated into the Earth's atmosphere. And you may look at article 272 entitled Noctilucent Clouds and Planet X Debris in the Earth's Atmosphere, and article 275 entitled Planet X Debris Field Impacting Earth. The interaction may also lead to other radiation not detected by the human eye, such as ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma radiation being emitted, which may be damaging to living cells. So here we see what noctilucent clouds look like. They usually appear in the upper atmosphere, they emit light, and so they are the result of photons being emitted when matter from the Earth loses energy to the energy depleted stellar core dust that has entered the Earth's atmosphere. And here we see another photograph, and in this photograph we can see what seems to be an object in the sun's corona. So we usually see them in the spacecraft images. This one was photographed from the surface of the Earth, and it looks like a dense object surrounded by a dense cloud of material. And when false color is added to the image, we can see that it looks like the sun's corona actually goes out to envelop the object. And here we see a pink object in the sky. It appears to be at dusk. the object seems to have some structure. There seems to be some objects along its outer edge which is not smooth, and the object's obviously emitting pink light. So this is likely to be an object that is both absorbing material from the Earth, and this then allows this light emission to occur, and it may also be shedding some of its old material, and that's why it may then seem to be loose and on the outer edge of the object. Now here we see a spherical object that seems to be surrounded by a dense cloud that is also giving off pink and purple light. The object appears to be behind the sun, but this is not the real sun. As you can see, it's hexagonal in shape, so this is a device, it's a sun simulator. So this means that this object is most likely not far from the Earth, most likely has interacted with the Earth and absorbed matter, and this is why it's emitting light in these colors. And there's another image of the same object, and in this image seems to have intertwined patches of material giving off pink and purple light. Again, this indicates that it has absorbed matter, most likely from the Earth, from which it is absorbing energy. So it's now absorbing energy from that matter, and this causes the emission of photons or radiation from the object. And here we see two stellar cores that are obviously striped, seen from the Earth's atmosphere. Again, they appear to be different objects, not the same object photographed twice, as the stripes are quite different. This one we have two thin stripes and some blue material, and here we have some thick stripes. Now the fact that the object has stripes indicates that material was layered according to the object's magnetic field orientation, and therefore that the objects have magnetic fields. And here we see another object that at first may seem to be illuminated by the sun, but that is not possible. Because if this was an illumination by the sun, then this line along the bottom of the crescent, the part of the object that is bright, would be aligned with the sun properly, so it would have this angle. Because if you draw a perpendicular line from the center of this line along the bottom, as seen here, then this line should end up at the center of the sun. As you can see, it's very far. So the center of the sun, if it was illuminating this object, would end up here. And, oops, let's go back. So it would end up here. And so the bottom of the crescent should be angled in this way, because the sun is slightly more to the right and to the left. And again, here it's also slightly more to the right and to the left, so the angle here should have been like this if it was the sun that was illuminating it. But it does not seem to be the sun that's illuminating this object. The object seems to actually be emitting light, and we can see that because there seems to be some kind of feature on the object here. It's seen in this image, and not as evident there, but seems to be there as well. So what is happening is the object is emitting light from about a third of its surface, so this part here, and the object appears to be rotating. So this is why it's angled in this way, that crescent. And this is illustrated here how it cannot be due to the sun's illumination that the object seems to have these different orientations, because the perpendicular line from the center of this line running along the bottom of the crescent does not end up at the center of the sun. If we draw a line from the center of the sun in this middle image and towards the center of the line at the bottom of the crescent, we don't have a 90-degree angle. It's not at 90 degrees. And again, if we do the same as we did there, we can see that the line does not end at the center of the sun. So the center of the sun and this crescent are not aligned. So it means not the sun illuminating the object. Not that the sun, this object that we see here is actually the sun. This is most likely a sun simulator, and that's why we can see a ray coming down in front of this object. So obviously the sun simulator is closer to the camera than the object. And here we see two red objects in the sky. This one seems to be larger and brighter, but it is behind that cloud. And there's another one, so two objects, and this one seems smaller. And so these objects are not very clear and not perfectly clear because these are being observed from the Earth's surface, and there is this chemtrail haze in the atmosphere, which has been placed there for the purpose of hiding these objects and thus makes them more difficult to observe. In conclusion, there is overwhelming photographic evidence of the fact that the solar system has been invaded by objects that are now emitting light in several brilliant colors in spite of the chemtrail haze and the simulation system, which are being used in an attempt to hide these objects. The objects look faint when seen through the chemtrail haze, but it is hard to hide the brilliant colors that they emit. They are, however, also likely to be emitting radiation in other wavelengths, which may be damaging to living cells. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.